So I got into private equity pretty much because of my mentors. I did not know what private equity was until I was at my law firm, Paul Weiss, as a summer associate. What is that? A year into law school was before maybe I had heard about it in the news here and there, but I don't even think I really knew what it was until I was at a law firm, kind of got taken under somebody's wing and said, this is a fun area of law where you can act as a business partner as well as a legal partner. And that's really how I ended up where I am today. I thought I was going to go into law school doing art law, not realizing that was all about tax. And then I got into private equity law, not realizing how much tax there was. But I've come to terms with the fact that I now know tax law. But it really was all about the relationships. It was getting shown what the industry was from somebody on the inside. One of my mentors, Bob Hirsch at Paul Weiss, says that, he was in on it from the beginning. He might say he invented private equity law. I haven't fact-checked that, so don't quote me. But, he really just made it fun. And then I met so many wonderful people and was able to really just help them more. It wasn't just about the law. It was helping them about thinking about their business practices, thinking through different decisions. This includes kind of my personal relationship that I ended up having with the founders at Trilantic. So when it was time to move from a law firm to the next thing, going in-house as kind of a counsel was just the kind of perfect fit. And again, kind of, being at Trilantic, I was also really fortunate to have mentors within Trilantic just showing me the ropes, not treating me as just legal, somebody who has to, they have to go to if something goes wrong, but just treating me as part of the company itself was just wonderful. And it was a great way to really get exposed to the industry. So I am general counsel at Trilantic North America, which is a middle market growth investor in business services, consumer, and the energy sector. We've been around since 2009 and are on our sixth flagship fund that invests in across all of those sectors. Oh, they're so big. There's so many differences between a law firm and being inside at a private equity firm. I think at a law firm, it's great because you're with folks that have studied the same thing as you, that nerd out on the little technicalities. And then you get to a private equity firm, which is a business, and you're dealing with business people. They are not going to be reading 5-page memos on all the technicalities. It's really going in and, dealing with realities and dealing with, situations that, you can't kind of spend 5 days mulling over, what would the Supreme Court say if it goes all the way through the ringer? You're dealing with more immediate actions. You're dealing with things that actually have consequences. You're not just, writing a contract and then realizing when you're on the other side that it takes your financial team, a week to prepare something that you thought was easy because, as a lawyer, you're not, you might be, really familiar with what's going on, but you're not really familiar with what's going on. You don't know what the back office is dealing with once you write a contract. So I thought it was just eye-opening to actually get in there and see what how the contracts affected people and, what was actually happening on the ground after you have a closing for a fund. So I came on to Trilantic as legal counsel. And it was basically doing a lot of what I was doing at my law firm just in-house. I used to joke with the team that they were my 9 to 5 client, and then I had 5 to 9 clients that I dealt with afterwards. So it was a little bit more of just dealing with the kind of day-to-day legalities, all the boilerplates that came through. I then became general counsel, and I think, with that, slowly getting more integrated into the business practices of the firm, being involved in all of the partner meeting, all the investment committee meetings, all the valuation committee meetings, all the other myriad meetings that take place to make a business run. From there, I became a partner and chair of the ESG committee. And that, I think my day-to-day ends up being taken up a lot more with just more firm-wide related matters. I will still answer the associate's occasional question on an NDA, but that's not the bulk of my work anymore. I'd say, I'm still out there very involved in fundraising, but not just involved in the legal documents, not just involved in the side letters, but involved in the strategy behind the fundraising and the strategy behind, new themes and theses that are coming across the firm investment-wide. So I think, my trajectory has been to go from, doing what I was doing at a law firm to really being integrated in just generally all of the business practices. For us, ESG, it kind of got onto our radar probably 6-7 years ago now. So when it was pretty nascent, and I had started hearing about it in the industry. I brought it up to the principals group as something that seemed to be, important and catching attention. And bringing it up made me the czar of ESG within our firm. So at that point, I think I was the one who was then just tasked with kind of exploring what this, what this was going to look like for firms of our size, which is the mid-size firm. That involved a lot of just talking to different vendors that were already in the industry, talking to some of my fellow GCs. Once I got out of my law firm, I kind of formed a mini GC networking group. So it was a bunch of us around the same age, also kind of newly minted GCs at mid-sized firms, all hearing about this at the same time and just trying to understand what it was going to become for the industry. It's been kind of inspiring to see just, how much importance it's been given, especially in the last couple of years. But for me, it's really been, learning about it as just going to different vendors, different events, and then reporting back to our principal group. Within the last couple of years, it has just become integral to even part of the auction process or the sale process where management teams themselves will bring it up. So it has definitely become not just something that gets checked off as, you've done your tax diligence, you've done your insurance diligence, you've done your ESG diligence, but actually has become something that people understand a lot more. And I think they're starting to understand that ESG checkboxes reviews aren't just an additional burden, but also can be areas where just people hadn't thought of where to kind of tap value that just people just weren't thinking about before. So I think it just has become a little bit more interactive, especially in the last couple of years with more and more people within the industry just kind of getting it. I think diversity has absolutely become almost like a focal point of ESG and a separate topic altogether. for Trilantic, we started recognizing that and formed a separate DEI committee aside from the ESG committee that we had formed a couple of years back. DEI committee really is focusing on just making sure that we have as inclusive a culture as possible. And also just really trying to understand how we can help within the industry itself and also within our portfolio companies. So to that end, we've partnered with the Tuck Business School at Dartmouth to help create a gender equity curriculum that would be available not just to folks at Trilantic, but folks at other firms like ours. And also expose, frankly, MBA students and other students to what the private markets industry is. I think this kind of goes back to my own story where I really had no idea about this industry, private equity, private markets as a whole until I was maybe 25, 26. So I think trying to get the message out there of what different careers there are and the fact that it's accessible to people of diverse backgrounds is really a key goal for Trilantic. It's one of the reasons that we've partnered with Tuck Business School. We also are involved in several organizations that help to kind of make sure that or help with diversity within the financial industry. And then personally, you know, Trilantic also supports my own role within, I'm a board member of La Unidad Latina Foundation, which helps at the college level. And it's not just specific to financial markets, but it's just all different careers. But it's just trying to make sure that, again, kids, especially kids that are coming from underprivileged backgrounds, know that this is an industry that would welcome them and that this is a career opportunity. So our partnership with Dartmouth, we have several partners that actually went to Dartmouth, either business school or undergraduate. So I think we had ties to that school. One of our partners within the program, Dr. Poonam Keller, she is actually part of another initiative that Trilantic took, the Founders Council, which is a council of business folks that are available to help and to help our portfolio company management teams. So our relationship with Dr. Keller, I think, was pretty natural, both from, you know, existing relationships and through this new relationship at our Founders Council. And probably 2 years ago now, we started thinking of the fact that there's a lot of conferences out there on ESG where somebody sits through and kind of lectures at you as to what ESG is, how you know, various statistics that have gone on. There are even conferences that, you know, have some component of workshops. But what we thought was something that we didn't have in the industry is something that was more hands-on, that we could get teams of folks from various firms to really kind of understand not just, you know, what ESG is, but how they can help integrate it within their firm. So it's still a program in development. It would be, you know, a 2 or 3 day program. Our kind of target date for it is next February 2022. But the idea is that it would be more of a workshop that at the end of it, you would have a certificate of some sort that, you know, you and your team has gone through to try to, you know, bring different programs internally to your firm. Advice I would give to students, college students, anybody trying to break into the industry is really that it's not it's not as big a deal as as it could seem. You know, it's not billions on Showtime or HBO, whatever channel it's on. It is just people working within different companies who are looking into investments in private equity. They're looking into different companies, and it's really just to see if they can talk to somebody who is in the industry, whether it's at a lower level, higher level, mid-level, to just get a sense of what it is. Because I think that when students or younger folks think of industries and kind of capital letters and bold capital letters, it can look daunting or just something that's inaccessible. And I think that when you talk to somebody, and for students, I would actually recommend talking to somebody at a lower level to just see what it is. What is it day to day? You realize that it is completely accessible to people of all backgrounds.